last job, but it might be the first good one. Does anybody hear that here? Does anybody hear that might be the first good job you really ever had? So experts say possibilities are best for entrepreneurs with real-world experience. So what you already know can be a very much a fuel for creating what you want. So what you need to get is you need to get a great idea. And you need to get a marketing effort. Okay, something behind it to help this, a product ready to sell. You have to have something, you have to have an idea, you have to have something, a concept, something that's solid. You can't be talking about a lot of things, you have to have something you're focused on. You can change, but you need to focus on an idea. Be a build and grow company. Okay, Richard Branson. How many people know Richard Branson? All these little things are his. Virgin Airways, Virgin Records, that's all his companies. Those are all his companies, billionaire. He says, have fun, do good, and the money will come. Did you believe that? Have fun, do good, and the money will come. Does that shatter anybody's belief system? I hope it does. I want to destroy whatever belief system that doesn't say that for you. So have fun, do good, and enjoy what you're doing. The best measure of success is happiness. If you're miserable, stop doing what you're doing. Find what you love to do. The money will come. It's a common saying, I know, but it's true. Product solution. So when you start thinking about what kind of product, who has a product here that they'd like to talk about? Or maybe an idea product. Anybody have one? You have one?
My name is George.
You're going to have to speak up, George. We're hard of hearing here.
People back there. The head of Jeffrey Blake, I found a company called I Find Doctors, so I'm the founder of the company, or co-founder. It's really a service where it's a directory in the database where you can search doctors by zip code and specialty instead of going to Google and search the doctors and not knowing if they are like whatever cardiologist versus chiropractor or something like that. We give you the accurate information of the doctor. You can also, if they have a Facebook account or Twitter account, also check their Facebook, check their Twitter account. So like database plus like social media.
Great.
Yeah, it's ifindoctors.com.
So
it's for medical doctor facilities as well.
So he has an idea. So what problem are you solving? He's solving this problem with finding doctors. So what do your customers have to say, and what do they demand about this? And people want doctors. Maybe people don't want doctors, but when you need a doctor, you need a doctor. And then you say to yourself, well, what kind of doctor do I need? I need a good doctor, or do I know the right doctor? So here's a system here that he's working on to solve that problem. And then the next question is, how soon will you make money? Does everybody like that idea? How soon will you make money at the idea? Well, that's a great one to be at, but it can't be all about the money. It's got to be about the people. What do people say? What do they demand? You can focus on this one. This one will come right behind it. So I did a little product matrix right here. So we're talking about modeling, product development, market penetration. We don't have a lot of time to go into that right now, but I want to give you the idea that there's a marketing metrics besides the Boston Group marketing system. There's lots out there to follow. So what is a requirement for...
Can you move the screen that way? Because none of the people here can see.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay. Okay, we're going to move the projector.
Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, that's better.
Okay, so you have to turn the projector. Is that better? Can everybody see it now?
Big screen.
I know, I lost my big screen. I got up this morning and I looked at my trunk where I have my big screen and it's gone.
Oh.
I said, how can I lose something that's like 4.5 feet long and weighs about 50 pounds? But I did. So, luck. So I'll probably find it someplace like in the laundromat or something like that. But anyway, so what do we talk about when we talk about success? So we talk about a paradigm shift, something that really makes a difference, not just in your life, but in everybody's life around you. When you come up with a product, a concept, an idea, you want to really think about it like how it really makes things different. Who's done this before? Ford did this before. Ford invented the first system that this woman right here, her name is Mary Parker Follett, and his idea was to pay people more money and they'll come and work for him. No, it was wrong. In the middle of the Depression, people did not want to work for Ford because they just didn't like the work. So what Ford did is he talked to this woman here and he says, what can I do? He says, what you need to do is take care of their family. So for the first time in American history, they offered health benefits not just to the workers but to their families, and everybody came back to work and was happy to work there. It was a paradigm shift. So Ford's success relied on a lot of factors, and this was one of them right here. She started what's called the Human Relations Movement. So if you heard of human relations, this woman was the beginning of it right here. Disney's paradigm shift. Disney came up with a concept. People need entertainment, not just entertainment that you go to on the weekend or a state fair or something like that, but 365 days a year. How many times did Disney go bankrupt? Has everybody heard about that? 4 or 5 times? Yeah, 4 or 5 times. Did he care? No. You know, every time we go back to the bank, he says, I want some more money. And they say, you're bankrupt. You can't have more money. He says, okay, let me just come back tomorrow. That's what he did. And today we have Disneyland, Disney World, Disney Enterprises, Mickey Mouse is everywhere. You can't get away from it. Disney Store. It's all about somebody's belief in success and his paradigm shift. People weren't used to seeing it that way. Google. So everyone knows about Sergio Page, right? And those two guys, they were Stanford students, and I have an association with those guys, but loosely. Another guy started a corporation. He went to school with them. They were all in the PhD program at Stanford, and they were all dropped out. They all started companies, and Google's founders went to Stanford and said, "Hey, we got a great idea, but we've got to check in with you first, because you know what? The university can claim ownership for that. If you know about that, if you go to the university, they can claim ownership for whatever you invent while you're there." So they said to Stanford, they said, "What are you going to do?" He says, "We're going to put a new web browser on it. Just get out of here. You guys, you're crazy." "Yeah, right. Go ahead." And they dismissed it very quickly. Well, their idea became huge, because they believed in something that nobody else did. You didn't have to have advertising all over your page. You could just have a simple search engine page. And they stuck with it. It was a paradigm shift. So when they focused on the money, how many advertisers can they get on the page, this, that, they weren't. And by doing that, they created something that became even more in demand. So you have to think a little outside the box. You have to think about what do the customers want, what's the demand. Marketing sales plan is 90% of businesses that fall short due to no marketing plan. I'm not just a bad person, but none. Excuse me. I'm getting over this cold. Anybody got a cold here? Can anybody empathize with me? Okay. All right. Well, anyway. Can I get a glass of water, please? Can I get a glass of water?
Are you sweating?
Yeah. So the idea is to find out what you do best and then get help with the rest. So you have to have passion to see it. At the end, you have to be accountable and find somebody else to go ahead.
Yeah, what's the explanation for the inability that companies so frequently have in terms of not being able to market themselves? They do something and they do it well, but they just cannot market their ability. What is it that causes that?
Everyone is an engineer in this valley. Almost everyone is an engineer, right? I mean, all. Not you. Okay. Well, I'm an engineer undercover. Okay. I stopped being an engineer when I started my company. I thought I was going to be the greatest engineer in the world, and immediately I had to start talking with people, and I couldn't be an engineer anymore. It's like a moment of happiness and sorrow all at the same time. But I learned that it was all about the people. So your question was,
yeah, what is it that causes so many companies to be unable to market themselves?
Why are they unable to market themselves?
Great product, they can't market it.
Okay, so maybe they're really great at the product level, but they're not really great at the marketing level. So maybe there's a little thing that they can get. It's called know what you do. If you do something really well, don't try to do everything. Just do what you do really, really well.
Right.
Yeah, and other people will help you with the rest. It's not about a business. It's not about you selling to yourself. It's about you selling to everybody in the world. So you have partners in your customers. You can ask them for help. You can ask Famous Amos. Everybody heard of Famous Amos? Chocolate chip cookie guy. He used to walk up and down the streets of East 14th Street in Oakland. Yeah, that's a scary place, right? And he said he'd have a bunch of cookies on his plate. He'd say, "Everybody try my cookies," and it was free cookies. And everybody'd say, "Yeah, I like your cookies." And eventually, everybody was eating his cookies. And so one day, you walk down the street after he launched his company. And they say, "Where are my cookies?" And he says, "Well, what do you mean?" He says, "Yeah, I didn't have any free cookies today, so we can buy them at the store." He says, "I want my free cookies. I don't want to buy them." But he'd done his marketing work. That was the best he could do in marketing. He asked everybody on the street, say, "How do the cookies taste?" He didn't worry about, how I was going to hire all these marketing executives. He figured that if everybody liked the way his cookies taste, then he could sell the cookies.
So he basically did on the street market research.
Yeah, but it was more incidental than it was a planned kind of strategic marketing approach. It worked. But then when he had the formula down, he found the people that could help him. So it's about, when you have the idea, there's all these people in the world out here, and we have a marketing person right here. Just raise your hand, marketing. Right? Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you.
Okay.
Okay. So could you help him with his marketing plan?
Well, actually, I'm doing the marketing for some local restaurants because they have great food, but they just cannot figure out how to reach their customers and how to grow their business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great question, and we could spend the rest of the day talking about that, and I'd really love to talk with you, but we'll probably just have to take that later on the side, and we can talk about that. Market validation. Oh. Okay, you have a great idea, you have a great product, you have a great concept, you've been working on this really hard. So you can see there's several areas here that we're talking about, and one of them is market potential size. You see how this one comes real high there, and maybe one of them comes high there, but it's not so high over here. So it says alignment with company strategy. You have an idea, so you're aligning your strategy with the market size and the marketability, and you have competitive challenge. Maybe competitive challenge is where they all fall. You have a big bunch of people out there that are competing directly against you. And the estimated cost. Well, look at this one. The estimated cost is high. Market potential is high. So and there's a green one in here. It says estimated cost much lower. But you got a pretty good potential market. You can see there's a strategy to this. You want to look at the factors involved. So when you do a market validation, what you do is you go out and you look at what the market is actually going to be doing. And you can find there's statistics on this. This is something we do. We've got a whole part of our company that does this kind of work. But if you can't afford it, or if you don't want to afford it, then go do it on your own. Just Google it, market validation. So you get started with a great idea. So a great idea is not a hobby, by the way. Hobby is something that you keep putting money into, but you don't really expect to make any money at. So that's fine. It's good to have a hobby. Hobbies are great. I'm all for hobbies. But a business, if you put money in it, you expect to make more money out of it than you put in it. In fact, don't put money in it. Take money out of it. You want business to bring in money, not take out money. So this is a little bit small. Can you read this here? Is it too small?
It is.
It is too small. I apologize. Okay, so business types. Okay, I want to go through this a little bit, but that's okay. We'll work it out. Okay, so we got the experts working on this. So, personal liability. First thing you want to know about a company is personal liability. You have a house, you have a car, you have a dog, you have a wife. Those are assets, right? Or a husband. And so, much better. So, those things you could lose in your business. So what you want to do is you want to protect what you have. Because your personal life and your business life are intertwined with each other. You're going to spend a lot of your heartfelt time working on your business. So you want to make sure that everything else in your life is running the way it should be running. Spend time on these things. These things are important. So when you look at how to form your business, here's the first kind, the sole proprietor. I'm in business. Congratulations. I'm a sole proprietor at that point. means that you are responsible for everything. If you make a mistake, everybody can sue you for everything you own. They can take away your house, your car, whatever they can take away. They can take away everything. Those types of businesses are also franchises, multi-level marketing and network marketing companies. They all fall within personal liability. If you do something wrong, you misrepresent the client in any way whatsoever, you're the person they come to. You think they call the corporation? They don't. They call you, and you're responsible. If you don't get sued, you may lose a customer. So you have to know that you're liable for everything. So, or you might be the agent of a company. I'm representing this company. Well, you do. My favorite story is the IRS. Everybody had a call from the IRS saying, you have to pay your taxes. Anybody had that call before? Well, I've had it. Okay. I love the IRS. They're my favorite people because they love me enough to keep persistent calling. They're like the best marketing company I've ever seen. But the IRS agent calls you, and I say, let's just work it out. And I say, if you don't want to work it out, that's fine with me. Okay. And they say, well, I can't work it out. For example, I've heard this story before. And we're going to just come and get you anyway. I said, okay, fine. I said, you can come and get me. I said, I'll come and get you. I work for the IRS. I said, you do? Well, tell me about that. You can't sue the IRS. I said, I agree, I cannot, but I can sue you. What's your name? What's your number? I'll come and I'll sue you personally, and you can do that. And I said, you ask your supervisor if I can do that. Your supervisor in the IRS will not protect you from a personal lawsuit. You're on your own. Even if you work for a company, if you're an employee, you can be sued for personal liability. Does the company protect you or not? You're still liable. Independent contractor, same thing. You're still liable. You can be sued. If you do a job for a company and they don't like the job you do, they can sue you for it. Not only do they not have to pay you, they can take a little extra. So, not personally liable, a corporation. As long as what you do is legal, you can't violate the law. You can't deal in some illegal activity. You can't sell drugs, that kind of thing. That's considered illegal still, by the way. And so as long as you're a legal company, you follow the laws, you don't steal, you don't rob, that kind of thing, then if you're under a corporation, nobody can touch you. They can only go after the corporation. You're personally not associated with it. They can take the corporation away. They can't take any of your personal assets away. But you got to keep those apart from your personal finances. You can't have one bank account with all your money in it. You have to keep a separate bank account, a separate accounting system. If you don't do that, it's called piercing the veil. It means that everything is intertwined, so you can't separate personal from corporate. So that's something you want to make sure you do. It doesn't hurt your credit. So if you go bankrupt in a corporation, it doesn't hurt your credit. It absolutely does not touch you whatsoever. Your personal credit is still your personal credit. The company's credit is the company's credit. And if the company's credit gets good, it can actually help you improve your personal credit. So you're taxed at a lower rate than personal with many deductions. So how many people think that corporations pay most of the taxes in this country? Okay, most people don't believe that. 60% of the taxes in this country, over 60% of the taxes come from the ordinary poor folk like us. Or if you're a poor folk, excuse me for okay. So personal assets such as houses are protected. So that's an important thing to know. You want to be a corporation. If you can do it, you want to be a corporation. It has some responsibilities to it. It's a little extra work for it, but these are the benefits. If you don't have any personal assets whatsoever, then maybe it's a proprietorship for you. But it's like you want to do the analysis, you want to make sure. Once you start to get a lot of money, then where are you putting it? You start buying that new car, that new house, all that new stuff, the swimming pool. If it's all part of the same bag, something goes wrong, it all goes out the window. Business process is to create the product. You have to have a product. It must exist. And it must be well defined. So I'm just going to go through this briefly. All of us engineers here in the room. So we talk about how we go through the process of designing something, requirements, and the project management level that goes into all of these aspects. So you have to have a workflow. If this is not your core competency, if this is not what you do really well, you want to have somebody that does this. Don't feel like you have to know everything. You don't. There are people better than you at everything. Henry Ford said the best words. He says, he had a, 4th or 5th grade education. They tried to kick him out of his office. They said, had him in the courtroom. They said, hey, you don't know enough to run this corporation. The country's economy depends on you. We're going to have to replace you with somebody that's smart and went to school. And he says, why is that? He says, because you don't understand what there is to do. He says, I don't have to understand. Just sit at my desk and push the right button. I push a button, the best lawyer comes in. I push a button, the best marketer comes in. The best finance person. All I have to do is push a button. I don't have to know anything. I just listen. So, learn to listen. Learn to hire the right people. So, funding. So I was saying this earlier, small business contributes 65% of all new jobs in these last 17 years. We are the leaders. You are the champions of everybody. You're the heroes. 10% of the jobs come from big corporations. So if you're looking for a job today, and I know some of you may be, your best chance is to go to somebody that's not even advertising. Go to a small company. How many people own a business right here today? How many people are business owners? Okay, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many people could use the right person today to make a difference in their business? How many people could do that? If you had the right person show up right now to help you with their business, we gotta have hands going up. How many people want a job today? How many people are looking for a job today? Okay, Alex is quitting right away. If you're looking for a job today, talk to these people. They're gonna put you to work. If they don't put you to work, they're going to hook you up with somebody that will. There is no excuse for you not having an income, not having a job, being unemployed. If you want to be employed, it's all over the place. People need you. Everybody needs everybody else, okay? It all works like that. It's really simple. 13 times more patents come out of small companies. 97%. That's the thing that makes a difference in this country is not, according to the economist, is not the national debt. It has nothing to do with it. In a few more years, the national debt is going to be like not even important. It's just the way that economics are scaling throughout the world. The national debt is just going to go like this. It's not going to become in the radar. What's going to get in the radar is this 97% of the exports are made by small businesses. Big business does very little exporting. Almost all the exporting comes from small businesses. So, learn who you are. You make the difference. The latest figures show that small business creates 75% of the net new jobs in our economy. 75%. So our economy, everybody else's economy is tied to what you do and what you're thinking and what you're doing right now in your brain. If you don't think your contribution, you are the contribution. You make the difference in the world, not just your life, but everybody else's life in the world. You will make a difference where you export. You make a difference here where you create new jobs in our economy. Greatest opportunities in funding and money today all exist in small business. There is lots of money out there. All you have to do is ask. So, my little zip, this is supposed to come flying in from the side, but it's stuck up there. Small business rules, yay! Okay. What you need to know is funding is abundant. Small business is the greatest target to receive funding, but you don't understand it. And you don't need to know the strengths and weaknesses of money today. Where do you get the money? Well, you can go ask your friends. But if you're a corporation, it's called friends and family with corporations. So that means if you can't afford to pay them back, you don't have to pay them back. But you want to pay them back because remember that they're people you're closely associated with. So you got a relationship going. It's a tough way to go because you got personal feelings about wanting to take care of your friends. You don't want them to lose your money. There's some dedication in it. They may put pressure on you. I said family. I don't really mean family at all. Don't ever go to your family for money. That's my golden rule. But they're like family. They're like close to family. They're people probably not directly related to you. You don't want to borrow money from your mother. Believe me. It's just for my mother, no. But maybe your mother, yes. Okay, and then for founders, people that are in it with you, people that are in it to make a difference in the world, make a difference in their lives, make a difference in the company that they see the vision, they have the idea with you. Those are founders. They may have money. Not everybody is just in it for fun. They'll put their money in there. It's actually called an ownership in the company. So the founders can buy in an ownership. I can talk about that all day long, but it's more like a sidebar for me. Angel investors. Okay, if you want to go to an angel investor, you're going to take 10 to 50% immediately, plus 10% of the money they get you, plus another 10% minimum of the company. And that's, you're talking like $100,000, $150,000. When you come back for another $200,000, $300,000 or 30–40%, you may go $1 million up to $3 million with an angel investor. And by the time you're done, they'll own 50% of your company. Then you go to the VC, you've got $100 million. You're going to look at 99+%. Okay, so you have, so that's a way to go. But there could be a reason to do it this way. But you want to know that for most companies, angel investing, VC investing is not the best choice for you. Some companies that is the best choice, but not for everybody. You want to understand what your best choice is. You can get unsecured money, means that there's no tangible asset that it's associated with, or you can get secured money, which means that you have a product for sale, you have sales income, you have sales receipts, you have contracts, stuff like that. We can get you funding on that right away. Okay, SBA, I used to call them the kiss of death, but struggling small businesses that get a huge amount of money from the Small Business Administration go bankrupt within the first year, just all over the place. What happens with the SBA is now that they've really changed their rules quite a bit, it's much easier to get money. I don't say it's simple, but it's much easier to get money. You might have to write your congressman to get it, but they're called first in, first out. So it means that when you borrow money from the SBA, you've got to pay it back before you take out another line of credit. So they are very, very greedy with their money. So you want to know what the rules of the SBA are, and they'll make you fill out a lot of paperwork to go there. Grants are good. If you're not a grant writer, you want to talk to somebody that is, or find somebody that is. Or my favorite, strategic. No money at all. Just make an association with somebody that has money, and you have money immediately. I might call it a sale, in other words. Okay, and I was going to do something here. We'll show you. It's very simple to do the Secretary of State thing for corporate. To start a corporation, all you have to do is go to this website right here. It's called Name Search. Just go to the Secretary of State corporation name and get this little thing. Try this name, try that name. And if it's not listed, it's yours. That's how you fit your company name. So you can sit there and play that game until you have a name for your company. So if you don't have a name for your company, this is how you get it. And once you file, then it's like $100 to file. $100 plus $25 if you do it expedited. And you have to either go there in person. If you don't go there in person and send it by a courier, it's going to take you about 6 months to get your corporation done. If you can wait, that's fine. But don't mail it in. If you want to, you can go to some of these websites and pay $500 for it, or you can go and spend about less than $200. We'll do the same thing for you. So, and what we will do that they won't do is we'll give you all the other paperwork. You don't need stock certificates, all this other stuff. You just don't. I mean, you can have it. That's fine. You don't really need it. What you really need is a lot of corporate documents that shows what the ownership of the corporation is. So you need legal things, that you need entities in place for it. So the other thing you want to do is you want to create product and show how the product will succeed for corporate funding. You want to show your financials. You want to have buyers ready to buy, prepaid sales, purchase orders, letter of intent or letters of credit. We just did a letter of intent, a letter of credit for $2 million here recently. Company did a $4 million sale. Yeah, no money to manufacture at all. Everybody's like, oh, well, where do we get $2 million, right? $20,000 if we ask everybody we know, maybe $2,000 if I ask myself, but we need $2 million. So we got to transfer